Rivers have always shaped our world, but what if we could shape them instead? Enter the realm of artificial rivers, human-made watercourses that mimic the power of nature. These ambitious projects go far beyond mere channels. They're designed to protect cities from floods, deliver water to parched farmlands, and even create thrilling playgrounds for whitewater enthusiasts. Think of them as giant plumbing systems carved into the landscape. Some are enormous, capable of diverting massive surges of floodwater. Others are intricate and precise, channeling water to specific crops or fueling hydroelectric power. Artificial rivers show how bold engineering can be, changing the way nature works. Are you ready to explore these incredible feats of human ingenuity? Artificial rivers are not a new concept. Civilizations have harnessed the power of water for centuries, creating canals for transportation, irrigation, and flood control. But what sets modern artificial rivers apart is their sheer scale and ambition. These aren't simple irrigation ditches. They're massive engineering projects that rival and sometimes even surpass the forces of nature. Imagine a river that appears out of nowhere. That's the reality with some artificial rivers. They're fed by reservoirs, complex pumping systems, or even diverted from existing natural rivers. The construction process is a marvel of engineering. First, the path of the river must be meticulously designed. Huge earth-moving machines carve channels into the landscape, creating a path for the water to follow. But simply digging a ditch isn't enough. Artificial rivers must be carefully engineered to control the flow of water. This involves building dams, locks, and diversion channels, allowing engineers to regulate the river's speed and direction. The banks of the river must also be reinforced, often with concrete or other materials, to prevent erosion and maintain the river's defined shape. The purpose of an artificial river dictates its design. Flood control channels are often wide and deep, capable of handling huge surges of water. Irrigation channels might be narrower and intricately branched, designed to deliver precise amounts of water to specific fields. Recreational rivers might have built-in obstacles and rapids to create whitewater thrills. The engineering behind artificial rivers is constantly evolving. Older projects often focus solely on functionality. Now, there's a growing emphasis on minimizing environmental impact and integrating these man-made waterways into the natural landscape. It's a delicate balancing act between controlling the power of water and respecting the delicate ecosystems it supports. But how far can we push this technology? What are the largest and most ambitious artificial river projects around the world? First on our list of ambitious artificial river projects is the Kachi Canal, a lifeline for Pakistan's drought-stricken Balochistan province. We've seen how this massive undertaking aims to transform barren land into fertile fields. But can it truly defy the harsh realities of water scarcity? Let's delve into the nitty-gritty details of this engineering marvel, exploring the construction and design choices that make the Kachi Canal so unique. Picture this, a colossal water pipeline snaking through a vast, parched expanse. The Kachi Canal's main channel alone will stretch nearly 500 kilometers, about the distance between New York City and Pittsburgh. Let that sink in. 399 kilometers built within the Punjab province, with the remaining 194 kilometers reaching into the very heart of Balochistan. Imagine the sheer scale! The project unfolds in 3 distinct phases, each unlocking irrigation for thirsty lands. Phase 1, already complete, is where the story begins at the mighty Tansa Barrage. This impressive structure, spanning the Indus River in Punjab, is the crucial diversion point. It's where the water starts its long journey towards Balochistan, entering the canal's headworks, a complex network designed to precisely regulate the water flow. This is the beating heart of the entire project. Building the canal itself is no small feat. The Kachi Canal isn't just a simple ditch. Its width and depth strategically vary along its length, ensuring efficient flow and preventing water from spilling over. Large sections of the canal are lined with concrete, acting like a massive pipe to minimize water loss through seepage. This means more water reaches the farmers' fields where it's needed most. But engineers didn't just design a water pipeline, they planned for success. Regulators, think of them as adjustable gates, are strategically placed along the canal's length. These allow for precise control, ensuring the correct amount of water reaches each part of the ever-expanding canal network. It's all about meticulous water management. The Kachi Canal isn't just about overcoming the desert, it's about working alongside it. Balochistan's unpredictable weather, where flash floods can pose risks, was considered from the beginning. Cross-drainage structures have been cleverly engineered, acting like underpasses beneath the canal. This lets floodwaters flow naturally, ensuring the precious water supply remains uninterrupted. Beyond the canal itself, the project weaves itself into Balochistan's existing infrastructure. Roads and railways, critical for trade, intersect the canal's path. The engineers weren't deterred. They constructed carefully designed bridges and crossings, ensuring these vital transportation links remain open, no matter the weather conditions. This seamless integration underscores the project's commitment to benefit the entire region, not just agriculture. Speaking of benefits, the Kachi Canal goes hand in hand with revamping the N70 National Highway, a crucial lifeline between Punjab and Balochistan. This once narrow, treacherous road was a serious bottleneck for trade. Now, thanks to 7 strategically placed steel bridges totaling a breathtaking 11.5 kilometers, the highway conquers the mountainous terrain. These modern marvels create a safer, more efficient route. Imagine the impact on Balochistan's farmers. No longer constrained by an inadequate road system, they can reliably reach distant markets. This smooth flow of goods is a game changer, stimulating commerce and benefiting everyone who depends on trade within Punjab. This massive undertaking comes at a cost, approximately 80.5 billion Pakistani rupees. While the project began way back in 2002, with some delays along the way, the completion of Phase 1 is a beacon of hope. It alone will deliver life-giving water to over 102,000 acres of parched land in the Dera Bukti district. Fully realized, all 3 phases promise to transform a staggering 713,000 acres into thriving agricultural hubs. But it's not just about fighting gravity. Powerful pumping stations and a vast network of pipelines will lift water a mind-boggling 7,000 feet above sea level to reach parched highlands. The Kachi Canal isn't simply an engineering feat, it's a promise. It's a promise of transforming lives, revitalizing agriculture, and reshaping Balochistan's landscape. With this precious water, farmers are diversifying crops, reaping higher yields, and achieving a level of food security once unimaginable. This enhanced food production strengthens Pakistan as a whole, boosting its competitiveness in the global agricultural market. The economic ripple effects are undeniable. Higher incomes for farmers means they can invest in vital sectors like education, healthcare, and infrastructure, driving local growth and creating new opportunities for the region. Imagine the impact. From Pakistan's Kachi Canal to the heart of the Sahara Desert, let's turn our attention to another audacious engineering feat, the Great Man-Made River, GMMR, of Libya. This ambitious project taps into ancient underground aquifers, bringing precious water to coastal cities and transforming the arid landscape. The origins of the GMMR lie in a surprising discovery. Way back in the 1950s, during oil exploration in Libya's southeastern desert, an unexpected treasure was stumbled upon: vast subterranean reservoirs of fossil water. Picture a hidden sea beneath the sand. This isn't the same water that falls from the sky today. It's called fossil water because it seeped into the ground thousands of years ago when the Sahara was a much wetter place. Geologists call this vast underground system the Nubian Sandstone Aquifer. It's massive, stretching under several countries, and to put its size into perspective, it could hold all the water from Lake Superior twice. Libya realized they had something special. Instead of more oil, they'd struck a different kind of liquid gold. A visionary plan was born: construct a massive network of pipelines to bring this ancient water to where it was desperately needed, the heavily populated coastal regions. It started in 1983. Phase 1 of the GMMR focused on two huge well fields, Tazarbu and Sarir. Think of these as giant straws tapping into the underground aquifer. Hundreds of wells were drilled, some reaching over 500 meters deep. These are enormous. From Sarir, the water isn't just pumped to the surface. It travels underground through a double pipeline. Think of one pipe inside another to a colossal holding reservoir at Ajdabia, a kind of artificial lake in the desert. From there, it's sent in two directions, west to the coastal city of Sirte and north to Benghazi. Phase 1, finished in 1991, is a feat in itself. It moves a mind-boggling 2 million cubic meters of water daily. Imagine a cube 1 kilometer on each side filled with water. And now imagine that much every day. This water travels through a pipeline network stretching a staggering 1,600 kilometers. But Libya didn't stop there. Phase 2 focused on bringing drinking water to the capital, Tripoli, tapping into well fields in western Libya. Completed in 1996, it expanded the reach of the GMMR. A few years later, in 2009, Phase 3 went even further, adding water for the city of Tobruk and extending the network even more. The entire GMMR system, once finished, will be an engineering marvel unlike anything in history. It will stretch 4,000 kilometers, delivering a staggering 6.5 million cubic meters of water per day. That's enough to fill over 2,600 Olympic-sized swimming pools. The construction of this project is a story of sheer scale and ingenuity. Imagine the pipes used in Phase 1, huge concrete cylinders, 4 meters in diameter and 7 meters long. Manufacturing these alone was a massive task, but Libya did it themselves, pouring steel-reinforced concrete to create these giants. Now, picture 7-meter deep trenches carved into the desert sands. Specialized machines were used to carefully lower and place these colossal pipe sections. Each joint was meticulously sealed with giant rubber O-rings and cement, ensuring not a drop of precious water was lost. Then there are the reservoirs, massive, human-made lakes dug into the desert floor, sealed with asphalt to prevent water loss. These hold vast quantities of water, safeguarding the supply. The GMMR is more than just overcoming the challenges of building a massive water system in the desert. It's a testament to human determination and a lifeline to the Libyan people. It transforms lives. Where once cities struggled, the GMMR brings fresh water, expanding urban life. Agriculture is flourishing. Government-subsidized water makes farming possible in areas once barren. This is a project with far-reaching benefits. However, even with its successes, the GMMR faces challenges. Political instability in Libya poses a constant threat to the system's maintenance and security. And let's not forget that this is fossil water. It's not being replenished. How much water is really down there is a topic of debate. Some experts believe it could last centuries. Others are far more pessimistic. While the GMMR's future may have uncertainties, its impact on Libya is undeniable. It's an engineering triumph, demonstrating what can be achieved when a nation confronts a fundamental challenge like water scarcity. From Libya's vast desert network, let's turn our focus to a surprising story of resilience and ambition. Afghanistan's Kosh Tepa Canal. This audacious artificial river aims to transform parched lands and address a water crisis intensified by conflict, drought, and a changing climate. What is the Kosh Tepa Canal? Think of it as a lifeline across northern Afghanistan. Stretching a planned 285 kilometers, this massive channel will be 152 meters wide and 8.5 meters deep. It begins its journey at the Amu Darya River, winding through Balkh, Jowzjan, and Faryab provinces. The project, halfway complete, is an urgent undertaking to address severe water shortages and a growing food crisis. Some neighboring countries have raised concerns about Afghanistan using too much of the shared Amu Darya River water. However, Afghanistan assures them this won't happen and stresses it is the only country currently not fully utilizing its entitled share of the river. The urgency of Afghanistan is undeniable. Declining groundwater, global warming, and lack of irrigation have turned parts of the north into near desert. The canal promises to transform this. It will supply water to over 1 million Afghans, allowing thousands of farmers to return to agriculture. Vast tracts of land, roughly 55,000 hectares, will become fertile farmland with a focus on vital crops like wheat and grain. In fact, Afghanistan has a bold vision of becoming a wheat exporter by 2028. This undertaking is staggering. Begun in March 2022, it has 3 distinct phases: digging the canal itself, then installing irrigation systems and infrastructure. Fully Afghan funded with tax revenues, the initial estimated cost was $500 million, but projections now indicate an additional $100 million might be needed. Now, here's what makes this truly remarkable. This ambitious feat is being achieved with limited resources, aging equipment, and no foreign engineering assistance. Some media outlets have criticized the project, alleging careless construction, but careful research demonstrates these claims are unfounded. The Afghan government has invested heavily in the project's design, conducting intensive land surveys and soil studies. Their main goal was to eliminate the need for expensive water lifts by ensuring the canal follows naturally flat land with elevation similar to the Amu Darya River source. They've also focused on maximizing the reach of irrigation benefits by routing the canal through some of the region's most fertile land, in proximity to existing towns and villages. Once the canal path was determined, 200 private contractors were deployed across 114 sections of the first phase, which spans 108 kilometers. Up to 7,000 skilled operators of excavators, haul trucks, and other heavy machinery joined forces with project engineers who continuously monitor work quality. A carefully orchestrated excavation process unfolds, with trucks ferrying loads of soil to designated disposal sites. Once a section is dug and approved, the teams move on, replicating the process based on detailed maps. The project began with the strategic construction of 14 hydraulic gates topped with vehicle bridges. These are critical for flood control during winter when the Amu Darya swells. The 114 sections initially had thin dirt walls between them, allowing for slow filling and preventing soil erosion. Once the first section near the river was completed, water flowed in gradually. Only then were the dirt barriers removed, gradually filling the canal as it extended. A deliberate choice was made to leave the canal unlined with concrete. This might seem surprising, but it carries several benefits. It allows for natural irrigation up to 1 kilometer away from the canal, boosts groundwater levels, and avoids the astronomical cost of lining the entire channel with concrete. The Afghan engineers didn't neglect infrastructure. 2 concrete bridges, designed for both heavy traffic and the region's seismic activity, were built to integrate the canal into existing road and rail networks. Irrigation pipelines were also installed, ensuring farmers and villages within reach of the canal have access to water. During Phase 1 alone, up to 1 million cubic meters of soil were removed daily. an impressive feat considering the age of much of the machinery. Meanwhile, thousands of trees were planted along the banks for stability and erosion control. This project isn't about transforming the landscape, it's about transforming lives. Workers are well paid, and timely compensation has fueled a local economic boom. Old farms are being replanted, roads improved, and a sense of optimism fills the air. Many areas near the canal have been isolated and neglected for decades due to conflict and lack of infrastructure. Now, there is a surge in solar panel use to power homes and workshops. Originally slated for completion in 2028, the Kosh Tepa Canal project is moving ahead of schedule, potentially ready for full operation as early as 2025. Despite harsh sanctions and a difficult political climate, Afghanistan's ambition with this project is undeniable. It is a testament to resilience and a beacon of hope, demonstrating how a nation plagued by war and hardship can chart a path towards self-sufficiency and prosperity. The Kosh Tepa Canal might be impressive, but China's South-to-North Water Diversion Project is on another level entirely. Imagine a vast network of artificial rivers stretching thousands of kilometers, defying geography to bring water to China's parched northern cities. This audacious project carries both great promise and great controversy. Let's explore the reasons behind this unprecedented project. China's geography isn't straightforward. The fertile Yangtze and Yellow River systems support huge populations in the east, while the north and west are dry and mountainous. A staggering 94% of China's population lives east of an imaginary dividing line, highlighting the uneven distribution of resources. Historically, Beijing and surrounding northern cities were major centers but faced a growing water crisis. Groundwater alone couldn't sustain the booming population and industry. Meanwhile, desertification crept further into northern China, threatening to swallow even more land. It was clear the north desperately needed water. In 1952, China's revolutionary leader Mao Zedong proposed a bold solution: borrow water from the south. Decades later, in 2002, the concept became a reality with the approval of the North-South Water Transfer Project. This colossal endeavor involves three massive canals: eastern, central, and western routes. The eastern route taps into the mighty Yangtze River near the city of Yangzhou. Massive pumping stations, some built long ago, lift water into the ancient Grand Canal, the world's longest man-made waterway. From there, a mix of tunnels, including one passing under the Yellow River, and elevated aqueducts carry the water towards Tianjin, a coastal city near Beijing. This route alone stretches over 1,100 kilometers. Construction began in 2002, but delays pushed back the estimated completion date. Finally, in 2017, the first fresh water reached Tianjin, with plans to deliver up to 1 billion cubic meters of water annually to over 10 million thirsty residents. The central route presented a bigger challenge. Unlike the east, no ancient canals existed. It begins at the Danjiankou Reservoir, which had to be raised by a significant 15 meters to allow water to flow downhill towards the north without pumping. Tragically, this required relocating over 300,000 people. The rest of the central route is a mix of specially built canals and aqueducts, including the impressive Shahe Aqueduct stretching over 12 kilometers. Finally, it reaches its destination, Beijing. Completed in 2014, the central route alone spans over 1,200 kilometers. But that's not all. The diversion from the Han River had a devastating side effect, depleting water from millions downstream. To counter this, China is building a massive underground tunnel connecting the Three Gorges Dam to the Han River, injecting water into the system all the way to Beijing. When completed, it will be the world's longest and deepest man-made waterway. By 2030, this central route is projected to carry a staggering 12 cubic kilometers of water annually. The western route is the most ambitious and the most controversial. Still in the planning stage, it aims to connect the Yangtze to the Yellow River through the towering Qinghai Tibet Plateau, 3 to 5 kilometers above sea level. Engineers would literally need to carve through mountains to make this work. It's estimated to be finished by 2050 and deliver 17 cubic kilometers of water annually to nearly 100 million people. There's been speculation about potentially diverting water from rivers like the Brahmaputra and Mekong, which cross borders into India and Southeast Asia, raising geopolitical tensions. The North-South Water Diversion Project is a mixed bag. The Chinese government heralds its success, claiming it benefits 140 million people. However, some provinces along the Yangtze oppose the plan, fearing the loss of water will hurt their regions. Western provinces desperately want the project completed, seeing it as a lifeline. But for China and the world, the environmental concerns are enormous. Our next destination is for Saudi Arabia, which has an even more ambitious vision. An artificial river surpassing even the mighty Nile in size. This groundbreaking project aims to unlock water independence in one of the world's driest regions, revolutionizing agriculture and sustainability along the way. Let's trace Saudi Arabia's water journey to understand the need for such an audacious project. Initially, the country relied on limited renewable sources, using natural water for small-scale farms and basic needs. But things changed dramatically. Saudi Arabia turned to two seemingly endless resources: desalinated seawater and ancient underground aquifers known as fossil groundwater. This allowed for expansion, supporting large farms and ensuring water for homes and industry. Saudi Arabia initially made water very cheap, leading to a massive increase in usage, especially for agriculture. From 1980 to 1994, water use nearly tripled. But there was a problem. Much of this water came from those irreplaceable underground sources. Recognizing the limits of those aquifers, the government started charging for water use in the early 2000s. They also encouraged smarter farming practices like drip irrigation, which delivers water directly to plant roots. These changes helped, especially with wheat production. Wheat farming, incredibly water-intensive, decreased dramatically, with Saudi Arabia ending it altogether by 2016. However, without natural rivers, the country still faced long-term challenges. Oil, the economic backbone, is subject to global price swings, and desalination, while a viable source, remains energy-intensive. That's where the Artificial River Project comes in. This isn't merely a big canal, it's a reimagining of water infrastructure on an unprecedented scale. Stretching over 12,000 kilometers, this primarily underground river will be an engineering marvel and the world's longest man-made waterway. It aims to produce a staggering 9.4 million cubic meters of water daily, drawing its source from the Red Sea and using advanced desalination technology. Imagine the engineering challenges. The artificial river will run underground to minimize evaporation in the extreme desert heat. Its width and depth are carefully designed to ensure steady flow, able to reach even the most arid corners of the country. This project is all about turning the impossible into reality. With it, Saudi Arabia envisions a future of agricultural self-sufficiency, where once barren deserts bloom with crops. This would reduce reliance on food imports and diversify the economy beyond oil. The stats are mind-boggling. At around 11 meters wide and 4 meters deep, this artificial river system would be wider and deeper than the Nile. The transport pipes alone, measuring 2.25 meters in diameter, would circle the entire globe multiple times if laid end to end. Specialized anti-corrosion coatings will protect this vast pipeline, ensuring fresh water reaches its destinations. At the heart of this revolutionary project lies desalination, the process of removing salt and impurities from seawater. Two main techniques will play a role: membrane desalination This highly efficient method involves pushing seawater through a series of filters. These specialized membranes trap salts and minerals while letting clean water pass through. Thermal desalination. This method heats the seawater. As the water evaporates, it leaves the salt behind. The vapor is then condensed back into liquid, producing distilled water. While energy-intensive, thermal desalination is reliable, especially in regions with plentiful energy resources. The Saline Water Conversion Corporation, SWCC, a state-owned entity, is crucial to this massive undertaking. The SWCC oversees and manages desalinated water production throughout the country. They operate numerous plants along Saudi Arabia's eastern coast and beyond. With an annual production exceeding 1.6 billion cubic meters, Saudi Arabia is the undisputed global leader in desalinated water. It accounts for a staggering 18% of the world's total. These plants are vital, as natural freshwater is nearly non-existent. The Artificial River Project is about more than just addressing water scarcity. Saudi Arabia faces the challenge of relying heavily on oil, an economic asset subject to global price fluctuations. Diversifying the economy is a top priority, and the artificial river plays a key role. With it, Saudi Arabia seeks to transform its deserts into an agricultural powerhouse, achieving a degree of food security once thought impossible. This artificial river, longer than any natural one on Earth, would redefine the very nature of water management in arid climates. It's an undertaking that invites a simple question: could ambition, technology, and determination turn a desert into an oasis? While Saudi Arabia's vision is undeniably audacious, Egypt is tackling water scarcity with an ambitious artificial river project of its own. Unlike Saudi Arabia's primarily underground approach, Egypt is building a colossal above-ground canal aiming for the title of the world's longest artificial river. Let's delve deeper into this monumental undertaking. Nicknamed the New Delta Project, this mega-project stretches an impressive 114 kilometers through the heart of Egypt's scorching western desert, with plans for further expansion. Its primary goal is to cultivate a vast swath of arid land, transforming it into a fertile agricultural region. This transformation would significantly boost food production, reduce reliance on food imports, and open up new economic opportunities across sectors. Water scarcity is a constant threat in Egypt. The Nile River, the country's lifeline, faces increasing pressure from population growth, climate change, and upstream dams. Recognizing this challenge, Egypt embarked on the New Delta Project in 2016, with construction beginning in 2019. The engineering feats involved in this project are immense. The artificial river isn't a single uniform waterway, but a complex canal system. It spans 148 kilometers of open canals, averaging around 70 meters in width, a testament to its scale. However, the project also incorporates tunnels to navigate elevation changes and emergency gates for control and safety. The source of the river's water is a unique aspect of the project. Instead of directly tapping into the Nile, it will primarily utilize a mix of treated wastewater and desalinated water. This innovative approach reduces strain on the Nile and promotes resource efficiency. A massive wastewater treatment plant, the world's largest, located near the Nile Delta, plays a pivotal role in treating water to safe standards. Desalinated water from the Mediterranean Sea will also be added to the mix to enhance the water supply. The initial phase of the project aims to deliver a staggering 10 million cubic meters of water daily. The ambitious construction timeline aims for partial completion by 2025, focusing on cultivating nearly 6,000 square kilometers of desert. This initial success, transforming barren land into a giant gigafarm, would create momentum for further expansion, potentially doubling the cultivated area by 2030. However, the project isn't without its challenges. Critics highlight the massive energy consumption involved in desalination and wastewater treatment. There are also concerns about the long-term environmental impact on the desert ecosystem. Careful monitoring of soil salinity levels and sustainable agricultural practices are crucial for protecting the environment and ensuring the project's longevity. Despite these challenges, the potential benefits of the new Delta project are undeniable. Imagine a barren desert transformed into a thriving agricultural hub. Cultivating desert land would help prevent further desertification and dust storms, improving the local environment. The new Delta project is a significant undertaking with the potential to reshape Egypt's agricultural landscape. While challenges exist, the potential rewards are vast. The battle for water is a global challenge. If these ambitious projects fascinate you, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let us know which artificial river intrigues you the most.